Welcome back, everybody. Our match is almost ready to begin. I think we have 9 or 10 players in the server, so that should be starting shortly. It is, again, Team Hyper versus Lowkey Esports. Now, Team Hyper is a bunch of relatively, I want to say unknown. That sounds like bad to people. You know, people are like, oh, I'm unknown. But that's not a bad thing. It's upcomers, right? They're part of a lot of them are around the FPLC. But they do have a prominent IGL that's been around the scene for a long, long time. Also pro in Counter-Strike Source. That's Deimos leading Team Hyper. I believe it's also his brand, or he's working closely with the brand as he's been part of that for a hot minute now. And Lowkey Esports, on the other hand, is just a bunch of youngins. I mean, we have Droid, we have Vec, we have Physique. We have all these players that have been pretty much relatively unknown. But into the server we go. It is going to be knife round underway here. And that will, of course, decide the side.
I'm excited to get to check in with Droid. He #1 memer in North America, by the way, folks, but also a pretty strong force to be reckoned with, and a local player to my area in the DMV. Comes out to a lot of the DC land, so it's always good to see local players competing in these leagues, making a name for themselves. And as you were saying, these are up and comers. These are maybe not the most well-known players, but this is the kind of league where they get a chance to prove themselves. They get a chance to go against the big boys and see what they can do, see what they bring to the table. So now we're going to see what they bring to the table on their pistol round. It's going to be Physic picking up the utility for Lowkey Esports, who will be starting on that T side. And this is now the second map in a row where we've seen some dualies on pistol rounds. So maybe this is the new meta. Nades down Banana, not really going to catch much, but it'll be Warblood instead with the USP to find the damage. And he's going to be finding more as he's chased back up the lane. Players now approaching, looking for a crunch on towards the B-bomb site. And as Edward's kind of rotating out of position, this might work out. The dualies strike. Deimos lightning quick with those, but he's going to lose his life to the second phase. Still, the dualies did their job. Problem is, Edward can't hold on towards the church. So despite the fact that he knocked Droid down towards one, the bomb can now be planted. We get into a pretty good post-plant situation for Lowkey Esports. Now locked out, they've got to make a lot of roads, and there's not really any reason to take these long faces against the USP. So Lowkey can just wait for them to push in and give them an opportunity to close distance with the Glocks.
I mean, not only that, but 2 of the players for Team Hyper don't have any armor, and 2 of them have already been brought down. It's all down to Hippo Savior, but can he be the savior of this round? But he's overwhelmed. Too many targets coming in from too many angles. It is Lowkey Esports picking up the first round of the game. Also, Mike, here's a fun fact for you. Junior actually had one of the best stats in Advanced, I think, this season. He had the highest damage and lowest damage taken as an AWPer. So he's insane. He's definitely a player to look for here in this matchup.
That's interesting. Definitely someone to highlight. Not someone I'm terribly familiar with either, so I'm going to be interested to watch him, see his style. He's just picking up the USP here, opting not to pick up a gun, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's the AWPer for the squad. Usually that's the indicator. It's going to be Varon to take the tight fight, and the 5-7 gets it done. 2 quick headshots. That was insane. May not add to much as there's no armor on his remaining players, so it's still going to be a tough duel, but that reload was a little bit ill-advised. They're still pressing through. Droid closing distance with the MAC-10 is going to catch the flank as well. Senses the presence, heard the footsteps, and he'll clear out the site to follow. Now bomb can be planted. What was looking risky early on is going to be recovered. That was a quick and nutty shots from Team Hyper from Baron.
Yeah.
Call him 2900. Maybe you should change that to 5700 because the 5-7's working out.
I mean, that was a 5-7 no armor. That was such a minimal investment for 2 kills. That's pretty good. I think Hyper's happy with that. Now, Deimos does have a MAC-10. If he can farm up an exit kill with it right here, that might be some extra cash for him and a little bit more damage to Lowkey. So, see if he can get anything done with that.
Going to be taking the Deagle instead, and no chance for the SMG to really do damage. Now they're just trying to bully their way out to exit. There's the player in towards Boiler, and Edward cleaned up means that there's really going to be nothing to find. So good damage from the 5-7. Certainly at least limits them from getting that clean buy through, but it's minimal reinvestment here. They're going to pick up the AKs to complement. Now they've just got the 1 MAC-10. It kind of makes that bonus round a little bit better to work with. They're going to be up against 3 AUGs, but almost no utility. 2 smokes, 2 flashes. All that there is to work with for Hyper, and no kit. So if we get into that post-plant situation, keep an eye on that clock, folks, because it's going to get hairy. Early presence towards Banana, and you'll see that lack of utility means that needs to fade right away. Farron tries to get aggressive, and this time he's going to have less success with a rifle in his hands, and it gives a free upgrade over to Obsidian. So now a full rifle buy, no limitations here. Lowkey Esports can start to assert themselves over towards that A-bomb site, rapid up lane, and arch. And though Hipper Saver will catch 1, it should still be the death grip on site, and it's all up to Warblood, who's mollied out of the spot and has to waste his smoke just to keep himself alive, and it gives away their position as well. So Junior's going to be holding this, and he will eventually win out the spray duel. Bomb can be planted. This
That's
round
rough.
should just be over.
Yeah, that's really rough. I do respect the decision for Varn to take things into his own hand. I mean, surely they must have communicated that. I mean, they have no utility, right? They have no way to slow down Lowkey. They have no way to control or decide the pace at which Lowkey's going. So, I mean, that early attempt off the flashbang, that was a good attempt. Not successful, but I do respect it. But unfortunately, this is another round for Lowkey Esports. Minimally investing into the round means their economy will be pretty strong moving forward. Edward, Deimos, only 2 players left for Team Hyper, saving up their weapons. And again, the only thing they have is a smoke on top of that. So that's going to be a rough next round for Team Hyper for sure.
So here's the question. Here's a question of philosophy, right? When you have this situation where you're presumably going to just have these rifles and maybe no investment, maybe a force buy situation, how do you get maximum impact out of those rifles? Is your objective to put them in the best position to save through? Or is your objective to put them in the best position to get frags?
That's definitely a good question. I think for me it all depends on how the early round unfolds. But generally you don't want to overcommit the weapons, and if you do overcommit one of the weapons, you should at least have a player ready to pick up the weapon if the player fail, right? So when I say overcommit, I mean take an early duel from window, for example, or take an early duel off banana, for example. I mean, those are all good decisions, right? You take your chances, you throw a flashbang for that player, he takes the duel raw. He wins it, he loses it 50-50. It's a good call nonetheless. But if he dies, you have to have somebody recovering that weapon, because you can't lose a player and the weapon, right? That's just a massive loss in these types of rounds. But if they have 2 weapons, I mean, pistols and armor here probably for the remaining of these players, I think they just take their time and just play it out like a gun round and see if Lowkey makes any mistakes.
Looks like Lowkey going to take a little bit of a pause here as they sort out getting a player who's just dropped back in. They're hunting about for an admin, so we'll see if we can get them somebody to get that sorted in just a moment. So if you're Team Hyper here, presumably you invest into some pistol armor, you give yourself an opportunity. This is actually not a terrible round in that instance, right? You got some flashes, you got some smoke to work with, you got the kit on Deimos, so there's at least that for the retake. If you can force the T's through phantom pressure into an engagement with one of these rifles where they've got sort of a spray down potential angle, either like at the top of banana or maybe as they come through that mid bracket, maybe you give yourself a pretty good opportunity in this round. There's definitely a landmine, I would say, if you're Lowkey Esports, that you're going to have to try and sniff out. You cannot take this round too lightly. There's going to be danger around every corner.
And I think this is a pause as they try to get this player in here. And if it takes a little bit long, I think he's already connected. So I think, yeah, we'll be going straight back into in-game. Oh, you're setting up for a pause, a technical timeout, I imagine. But he's back in the server, so I think we're good. But yeah, to give you a bit of a backdrop here on some of these players, of course, Hippo Saver has been around the scene for a while, I imagine. He's played on several teams. I can't remember, not anything like crazy or like top performing teams by any means, but he's been a pretty consistent player. We do have Deimos, of course. Again, he's been around the scene for, quite a while. Varin, he's been around FBLC on the Faceit platform quite a bit as well. I'm actually not familiar with Edward or Warblood. I don't know if they've competed under different names that I might know them as, but as of I don't really know much about
Edward's
them.
illustrious career in the CIS region. He's just decided to shift gears. Yeah, retire. This is like his more relaxed play style. He said, "Oh, the travel's getting to me. We're gonna kick it a little more low."
Yeah, let's see what Hyper does with these weapons. I'm really curious. They're sending both weapons towards the B site, and they're setting them up for a save or hard contest. That's
I kind of like that. Give them the best opportunity to have impact, and if they can't have that impact, just say, all right, that's okay. We keep the 2 rifles alive into the next round. Problem is there's now enough money for Lowkey that Lowkey is going to hunt. There's no reason for them not to, and as they take top banana control, they might even just decide to hit. There are 3 players bunched up over towards the arch side here, right outside of mid, and that could be a deadly setup for these pistols. It's going to be flashes to block, but Warblood finds the first, and that's distracted focus. Now Varin can find the second, and they're getting bled as they try and move through. This damage is enormous. Hippo Saver should not be able to get out of this corner, but the smoke they drop actually gives them opportunity to do exactly that. Now they're wrapping up the lane, and there's no one really to deny, but Hippo Saver's going to have opportunity with the Deagle. He's 1 bullet away from death, but that won't matter if he connects with the head. And a late smoke in will at least secure the plant. But now this is tempting. 4 players up, man advantage. Still the 2 rifles who are completely untouched, and a smoke and a flash to get back through. You've got to imagine Team Hyper's going for this. And that's exactly what they're setting up for. 3 players going to wrap towards the lane, it seems. And see what they can do. Single flash now spent to get that peek through. But no one's poking out from Lowkey. They are just pure patience all day. Time ticking low. No kit available for Edward. He's gonna have to face it, and he slides around the corner and right into his death. So it was looking hairy there at the beginning, but low-key, they do recover, and they keep themselves alive. Still, though, considering how little investment there was from that for Hyper, 2 saved guns, not a bad result.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the retake attempt, but I just feel like they weren't really favored to win that at all, and committing the weapons might have not been the best idea. But either way, they have the money this round. That's all that matters. They have double ops, the triple augs coming out, full utility on 2 players. 2 kits available also, so retakes are possible. And now they have more than they've had before to work with. Let's see what the response is from them right here. And it's going to be an early setup towards the R side, doubled up. They do have a player baiting away. That's Hippo Saver in the corner. While Varn contests, Vex walking up close. But almost a lineup, but Varn able to find one, and Hippo Saver trades out and maintains the advantage for the team. So far, so good for Team Hyper.
So close to the line. This is the second round in a row that Hippo Saver's played that corner spot, and there's a trade in towards the pit, so now he's got an potential to really make himself a nuisance. That nade might end his days, though. He doesn't even see it coming. The scope in just a little bit too much for him to be able to dodge. So Hippo Saver out. Now, Edward and Deimos, they do have 2 smokes to try and get back onto site, but there's still mollies available. There's still flash available. There's a lot available for Lowkey to hold them out. So they're just going to wait, see if they can get a pick. There's one spot. The question is, do they get baited into fighting this? That molly's got to spell ruin. They'd have to smoke themselves down and go around. Now one player dropped. It's just going to be Deimos trying to slide that off into a position he can recover and get the heck out of dodge. That's that savvy veteran move, though. He just shot that off over so he can pick it up and get out of there.
Yeah, you like that. It's very subtle. I mean, this man has so much experience. I mean, he competed in Counter-Strike Source at the top level for a while. He's been around. He's very experienced. He's been consistently playing these games, you know, all versions and variations of Counter-Strike for many, many years. So, I mean, he's definitely a good leader to have on the team for sure. But Lowkey Esports, man, 5-0 start on the T side. Inferno looking pretty sharp, I have to admit.
Admittedly, a couple of these rounds have just been hamstrung, and we're kind of seeing this again. So there's the saved op. You've got a single Mag 7 bot up, and Deagles. And there's going to be nades to send down mid, but no one's really around to take the brunt of it, so it doesn't really matter. And Lowkey, once again, escaped that early damage, and they've picked the right site as well. There's just Deimos here with the AWP. He's going to be the lone sentinel. And if they drop a smoke, push them out of position, they can overwhelm that coffin spot, take the op out of their hands, and take any real hope that Hyper had of taking this round. But they go dry around the corner, and so Deimos has one. Might have opportunity for the second as well. They're still pressing. They want to go forward. They want to hunt him, and he will find that second kill. Bomb as well can fade away. They can't chase him down. They got to go back to recover it, and Deimos is picking them apart. Edward finds the lurker elsewhere. Now this has all come to a catastrophe for Lowkey. They will eventually punch in the numbers, but 5 alive. Hyper putting themselves in a great spot, and the timing on that shot. Catching Droid in the Achilles, and there's the kill as well.
Wow.
Obsidian mopped, and the round lost. All 5 alive for Hyper. Double op retrieve, 3 buy for them. They've turned this game on its head.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great round from Deimos. Not only picking up 2 kills, I mean, I think he picked up 3 at the end, but he got the tag off on the droid, and that really left him kind of... I mean, if they weren't in a disadvantage already into that retake, that was already the kind of the nail in the coffin. But Team Hyper picking up a round that I did not expect him to pick up. Deimos making work of that op. That's great work. 5-1. Team Hyper now has an opportunity with the economy swinging heavily back into their favor to try to make something back here. Grenade stack is well placed, but Warblood ends up taking most of the grunt damage there. But Deimos finds an op through Banana. So that's a great start for Team Hyper.
Deimos with these lineups, I mean, this is unreal. Blinded up, he still just has the angle, and it works out perfectly for him. Sometimes you gotta risk it for the biscuit. Now Hippo Saver gets the spray down as they round out onto the balcony. Perfect setup once again. It's just Physic who's left alive. He's got an op, at least a single molly to work with, only 27 health, and 4 players to find. You've got to imagine that this is hopeless for him right now. Minute 10 on the clock, and considering how dominantly Lowkey have taken the last few rounds, this is just a quick change of pace, a turn of events. And Hyper now looking a lot more settled.
Yeah. You can definitely feel their energy, and their timing is just impeccable now. There it is, Team Hyper not only winning an important round, but keeping 4 players alive. And just look how they went from struggling with economy to sitting at 8,000 after a purchase. 6.6 for Varn, 6.9 for Hippo. Edward sitting at 6.2 thousand. 2 AKs, 2 AWPs, and an AUG. Full utility and 5 kits. That's a massive swing. And not only that, but they have Lowkey Esports on a full save. This should be a Team Hyper picking up a 3rd right here.
We've already seen save rounds go awry for Lowkey, though, so never say never. Definitely still the possibility. They're going to be pushing up Banana early on. Lowkey trying to get a pretty low-key strat here. The Molly might ruin their day, but they're already past it, and it's going to be Edward who gets face down. He did huge damage, though, and that should set up the Molly and Damos to finish off the kills. Damos trying to get it done with a pistol. Will be dropped, but it's just going to be Junior. He does have the bomb in hand, so maybe a glimmer of hope, but he'll quickly get sprayed down by Hippo Saver. And Lowkey did a little bit of damage, but not quite enough to make it worth it.
I'm really surprised Damos committed to that duel on the box. I mean, he could have reset that easily and waited for the reinforcements, and they were just like, what, 1 second, 2 seconds behind to support him, and he could have just maintained his weapons and his economy, and they would be even in better place right now. But regardless, small little minor detail. But 5-3, a good comeback from Team Hyper so far. Once again, they're looking to contest towards Banana. Good use of utility, doing significant damage. Now the Molotov's going to keep Vec and keep Junior peeking. Quick shot from Vec. Ed almost flowed off, too.
It's a bold peek, and it works out for him. Edward going to find one at the least, but the trade is good. The smoke is not, though, and that's going to allow Hippo Saver the gap to deny the plant. There's not a second player to cross either, so he's just slowed them down majorly. The resmoke has to come in. There's still a minute 15, so plenty of time to work with. That allows Hippo Saver to get to the position where he can potentially deny this plant again. Physic, meanwhile, has to wait for his teammates to get here, and meanwhile, all of the CTs have arrived on site. So tons of utility being spent from both sides to try and just secure this bomb plant, secure a little bit of space here to work with. Now it comes into a melee, 3-on-3. Dumping what little they have to try and buy room to work with. But it's a pretty good post plant setup. Players in towards the pit, back towards Banana, ready to take all of these fights, and Hippo Saver is leading the charge for his squad. Finds the first. Troy trades, though, and Obsidian is there as well. Now it's just Varon, who's got the Deagle in hand, trying to find heads, and there are none to be yielded to him. So Lowkey Esports, they let a few rounds slip there, but now they're back on the board. There's so much money in the Team Hyper war chest, though. So they are going to be right back into this with as many guns and ops as they would like.
Yeah, I mean, Lowkey has a mountain of cash to climb through right now for Team Hyper, who not only have themselves a pretty much a full buy here, but they have themselves a potential full buy coming up in the round after. I think Warbud and Edward might be the only ones kind of struggling there. Barn with an early pick attempt once again gets shut down. I think he's the secondary opera of the squad because I think he's been holding that for us. But yeah, this unfolds. Heavy spread for Lowkey towards the middle apartments. Now they're gaining control of that. Roy leading the charge here in the halls. And now they're taking... Okay, it's a bit of off-tempo, a bit quicker than usual. And Vec might actually catch Hippo off guard completely. And there it is, he scrims it. But Edward, perfect timing once again. Trades it out, maintains strong defense towards the other side. But Droid at the halls finds an important frag. But Warblood, he's back on site. Warblood shutting it down with a second kill. Edward, once again, perfect timing on the trade. And it's all down to physique.
I think there were 2 kills on that initial push where a player got a frag and immediately pulled out their knife and got traded with their knife in hand. That's just, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. There's an opportunity here for Physique, but he's going to have to go big. The 1v2, he's lost himself in towards the library. And with that footstep, he now knows where one player is. Damos, I think, may have overlooked his spot. Is he expecting somebody to come out of the library? Scoping in, he's giving so many sound cues, and now the barrel spotted. So that's an easy frag. Now this becomes a 1v1 with a pretty good idea where the remaining player is. Zeke has the molly for it as well. Might push Edward off. He's going to try and tuck into the corner, but the molly's pushing him. The ticks are heard. Zeke knows he's here.
Wow.
That sets it up easily for the frag and the round. Played to perfection. He picks them out of the spot, and they never saw him coming.
Yeah, I mean... There's a bit of timing and a bit of kind of an unusual play again from Damos, just being so loud in that position, just kind of giving the round away. Edward's position was already compromised from before as he traded out on site. But yeah, it's fortunate. Very well played by Physique. That's just awesome cerebral work there from him, keeping track of an awareness of everything happening. Regardless, Team Hyper, they still have a bit of cash. Varn picking up the AW. Pete Warblood down to a swag, so it's not too bad. Something to work with. Very viable on a map like Inferno, which tends to be a bit more close quarters, but Banana control coming out early, but Physique, nice shot out to Damos, shut down entirely. Edward, so good on the trades, but not able to escape before Vec shuts him out, and that's Banana control forfeited, and a man advantage.
Now I just want to see Warblood get opportunity with a shotgun. I don't think he's really going to get it. They built space towards the B bomb site that's going to spread the defense out so very thin. We've seen Hippo Saber have a few big rounds. Well, now they need one, and he's not going to be able to deliver here. So that bracket control lost means the shotgun's in a very awkward spot. Got to kind of pick his poison, just try and find a flank on somebody. And this might be the timing. There's one. But can he possibly get the second? The answer is no. So it's an expensive mistake to overlook that boiler room spot, but it's not ultimately catastrophic. Farron, now alone with the op, just has to save this. The money is terrible for his squad. There's no chance. He's going to go for it, though. He's facing, and the flash is good. It's so good it blinds Vec as well. So that'll allow him to get it on the second peak, which should have been a dead-to-rights kill. Turns into a frag going the other way. But time ticking down. He still wants to fight for this. This is maybe ill-advised, but he's going to go for the hero play. There's two players with a good crossfire, and Droid will just have him as he rounds the hate cart. The chances were slim to begin with, and just as each second ticked on, it got more and more difficult. So now they'll have not so much to work with.
Did Varn look kind of choppy there for you, or is that just on my end here?
I didn't really notice it.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit. He's got about 60 ping.
He's kind of chopping around there a little bit. But yeah, it looked a little bit awkward on my end. But either way, Team Hyper's relegated back down to pistols now. A little bit of armor, some utility, but not enough to say that this round is not pretty much free for Lowkey. But let's see if the Deagle work can get anything done right here. Good grenades. And there it is. The first pick comes out for Edward, who's been pretty consistent for Hyper, I have to say.
Deimos trying to line up another. Deagles are deadly, and Lowkey really do need to adjust to prepare for them. Got the guns recovered at least and out of the potential grubby mitts of Team Hyper, so no opportunity there to recover. But still, minute 15 and they've already dropped a body. They're going to be a lot more cautious as they approach sites.
Yeah, I mean, Vex almost one Deagable in the body up close too. That's a lot of damage, a bit of harassment, but a fake execute coming out here for Lowkey, trying to bait Team Hyper, control their presence all around the map, and it seems to be working. Bomb's still towards brackets though, so I don't imagine Lowkey will commit onto B, or at least if they do, it won't be more than one player gaining information. Oh, it's a double fake. I like it. This might work against them, though.
It might. They're pretty rock solid here, right? That one's going to slip in towards CT, but he's dropped. That's actually a big find. That's our AK as well for the potential retake if it even comes to that. The flower pot peak is beautiful, and it's a crossfire of Eagles, and they're just going to be knocking him off the server. Physic at least clears out the B-bomb site players, and now he's got to get the bomb planted and ready for the retake. They're going to be just sprinting him down, and the spray is good for Varan, who just runs him down with a retrieved AK and steals away a round. Team Hyper, they haven't been consistent, but it feels like every round they win is this kind of theft, right? They're just stealing away these rounds we kind of count them out of. And Lowkey, I don't know. They look so flawless against the guns, and then these sort of sloppy ecos, these Deagle buys come through, and they look a little lost.
I mean, I think they got a little bit greedy there on this round, Lowkey. And they knew the economy for Hyper was pretty much demolished. They knew that they'd at most be at Deagles, pistols, max 7s at most, right? But they still opted to take those really tight angle duels. That's pretty much where the Deagle shines the most, right? You kind of let the Deagle shoot a bullet, reset the recoil, get another shot off, and it worked out. But yeah, I 100% agree. Team Hyper looks so solid on these eco rounds. Grenade, that's a chunky one.
That's a true meter. That's a can of Campbell's chunky soup. I mean, that was a meaty nade indeed. Now the utility can come through, and they've shown presence. It's going to be the straight hit in towards B. They're flowing out like a river, and the bodies are dropping for Lowkey. They come right into the dam, but the bodies have now turned the other table. 3 players still alive. Bomb planted. The rotation all the way on the other side of the map. They've just got to get their Hippo Saber and Warblood and try and bottle them up. And Lowkey, once again, when they're faced up against the buy, they settle in, they hit their shots, they take decisively, and despite dropping the first 2 bodies, they recover instantly and get into a post-plant situation that seems pretty hopeless for Team Hyper.
I always feel like with young players, you know, such as Lowkey, I mean, they're not, when I say young, I don't mean like they're like 14, 15, right? I mean young as in terms of how duration of age that people play Counter-Strike in, right? But, I mean, with a team like Lowkey, with these kind of contact shots, these kind of like bum rushes that they tend to be doing, these are very successful because they're all really sharp, right? They have their aims are crisp, their reaction time is crisp, everything is pretty much on point. So when they get that entry, when they get that first frag, that buys them so much space, and it becomes so much harder for teams to defend against. Because, you know, you kill one player, but there's like 3 other people right behind that person.
It's that young 18-year-old reflexes. I don't know what that's like.
Even though there are many
we're
studies,
a little bit past that.
you know, there are many studies that show that age doesn't really reduce reaction time by that much. But
My theory is that age makes it harder to go without sleep, and these gamers tend to go with less sleep. So as you get older, that's the chief challenge. I don't know. That's a theory I'm batting around.
Yeah, I do like that.
That's why I think like good sleep schedules are important for sustained success. Also, great op shots are important as well, and Varen hits that for sure. I don't know if he's getting his sleep, but he's certainly hitting them op shots. The trade is good though, but Bracket's control is still firmly in the hands of Team Hyper. Though as that ult fades out, they're actually going to trust Demos coming in with that second ult to sort of reassert it. And he's making a lot of noise in towards Library, so they might be ready for him. There's going to be the spray. The shot wasn't quite good enough, and that going down makes this a lot more difficult and awkward for these two players tucked in towards Pit and Graveyard. Baron has the lineup on the hallway player, but he's not quite going to find the kill, and now Droid is locked onto his position. The Molly going to make it impossible, but he still manages to find a frag, just predicting the angle. The bodies will drop. It's all to Edward, who's got a long-range duel against a man who will not miss. Living up to his name, he's like an android hitting them bullets. And Lowkey get double digits on their T side of Inferno.
Yeah, this is a great effort right now coming out from Droid and Physique. I mean, they're really sharp at the moment. 16 frags for Droid, 14 frags for Physique. Sitting and struggling a little bit. But yeah, 10-4 lead for Lowkey. This is a great first half so far. If they can pick up the 11th right here, that'll definitely put them in a very favorable scenario coming into the second half. And this is a bit of an awkward kind of a Walmart purchase here for Team Hyper. Have some weapons down to a Deagle for Damos. And Varn once again finds an opening frag for Team Hyper. He's been so consistent with that too.
Now, slowly once again, we're seeing potentially this broken buy workout once more for Hyper, which would just be a kind of an eerie occurrence. There's the lineup for Junior. That man's been to a geography class recently, so he makes this a little bit less of a dire situation, at least chips away at the defense. If they're playing full split, this could work out. Warblood, though, finds the timing and the smoke as well to secure that hit spot. And this crossfire is just perfect. Obsidian now last alive. The timing was just good for all of these peeps from the T side. Everything worked out to perfection. And Obsidian would need to come up huge to bring it through. He knows where one is and the second as well now. So maybe he can isolate these duels. But as soon as he taps that bomb, he's a dead man. And Edward finds the timing to at least get the 5th round on the board for Team Hyper. It wasn't a good half, to be sure. It was messy by every definition of the word.
Absolutely.
But Hyper at least brought it back a little bit there at the end.
I feel like they had so many opportunities to make it a more challenging half, though, for Lowkey. I mean, they could have picked up 7 rounds here, no problem. But it is what it is. You live and you learn. They have to tighten up in this half, though, because the room for error is running thin for sure. And it has to start with this pistol round. If they forfeit this one to Lowkey, it may not end well. Let's see what Lowkey's up to, though. I mean, they have a lead, and they have themselves 2 flashes in the hand of Physique. I imagine they want to go aggressive with that. Junior has gotten a lot of information in alt middle, and Vec is not really liking the way this feels. So he's going to step back and take another duel, but he's not overcommitting to it. I like that.
We saw this position played a lot by Hippo Saver. This time it's going to be Vec, who's trying to catch the kills that come around into the brackets up mid to find him. Utility being dropped. They're certainly going to be committed to this now, and the flash is good, but do they expect this spot? They certainly should, seeing as they put into a play, but they completely overlook it. He finds one, not able to line up the second, but that sets up Physic to peek in and find the kills instead. All to Hippo Saver, the man who could have warned them about that Nook, but he wasn't in the right position. He's going to catch out at least a Pit player, but no armor, and a fast flank from Obsidian means there's no more opportunity for him in the round. And Lowkey, they pick up that second pistol, and that should be what they need to close out this game. I mean, it really should. This is now tough for Team Hyper. Down 6 rounds. No pistol. Going to be taking the pistol round. This is rough sledding.
For sure. Yeah. I have to say one thing, though. Team Hypers, they've had amazing eco rounds. I wonder if they can do that on the T side where they're on the offense this time around.
It's a good point. They certainly might. SMG is going to make that a little more difficult. CZ not quite able to find the duels. He got aggressive towards the top banana, and they're getting picked apart. Players down mid already. I mean, this is just raw aggression from Beck. He's chasing him into T-spawn. Mexico will at least find a frag, but Edward, there's no chance of getting out of the spot alive. And it's all to Damos, who barely even got out of spawn the entire round, as Lowkey just looked to shut this down. That was a high-key aggressive round. They had no patience whatsoever.
Yeah, they're just like, let's get this round over with and just farm it up before they even give him a chance to work these deagles. Team Hyper now on the purchase. An SG coming out for Deimos, AK-47s for the rest of the squadron, but they are lacking on utility. They only have 3 smokes. That means if they decide to take bracket control, that's 1 smoke right there. If they use any smokes in Banana early on, that's 2 smokes. It's going to leave them kind of limited. Back pushing down with the ump, finds himself a kill. That's Edward gone down. A person who's been pretty consistent for Hyper. Now the remaining players are trying to find their way forward. Hippo only able to find 1 before he straighted out. So the advantage maintains here for Lowkey as they looking to reset.
This is just brutal. I mean, the SMGs again, it's finally, this is the opportunity for Hyper, right? They've got to take advantage of it. It's slipping through their fingers, though, and they've expended what little utility they have. It's a single smoke now, and they haven't even gotten up mid. It's just going to be the raw peak here. No fear whatsoever for the Lowkey side, and that confirms what they suspect. They've got no real map control. A little bit of space towards Banana, and finally, Warblood will get a pick in return. Now they've gained more. It's only SMGs up against them, so if they can take long duels, they've got the advantage. But these sprays, these running sprays, are kind of toying with them, tormenting them, preventing them from getting any space, and that's a big kill from Physique. That means they're not going to be able to rotate. The second follow-up is even better. That's bomb spotted. It's all to Warblood, who already has 2 in the round, but would need the 4K to even be able to bring this through. He's only got 30 seconds to work with. If he finds the kill on Physique, he does indeed. Now he can grab the bomb and get out of there, but the player is at his back and tapping him down. He's still going to find the frag.
Oh my
God.
God.
1v1v1v1 takes the 4 kills, knocks them all down, and keeps Team Hyper alive in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have to say though, Physique, I think Physique got like a overconfidence from the fact that he got 2 very impactful kills, and he was just feeling it. So I don't blame him for taking that peek, but that was a little bit aggressive. He could have just held the flank, played the Banana, played out with his team. Junior taking a massive amount of damage from that grenade. Okay, a leg shot. Warblood though, strong legs, gets to keep his life. Better than dead.
You do like those strong legs, don't you?
You know me, man. I love some strong legs.
There's going to be a lot of utility being spent at the top of Banana as they try and assert control, but they haven't really pushed anyone back. Beck is still right around this half wall with a Nova, and I don't think they're going to be expecting it. Edward looks like he's crouching into the angle. Oh, and there's the bait off. Now they know the Nova's here. Maybe they fear it. He's trying to hop up, but he's still going to find the kill. Deimos.
I think he disconnected. Yeah, I thought he suicided also, but no, it was a disconnect.
That's majorly unfortunate. Such an inopportune round for that to happen, and at least they've gained a pick, so it's a little bit more even. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow. Now they're pushing forward. It's Varen leading the charge, and they've gained enough ground towards Banana. They just kind of want to press the issue. Junior was not tucked around the corner. He's going to be a little bit more patient than that, and that's a good idea right now as they're just trying to go for that spam. It's a nice crossfire from the site towards CT, but there's enough utility here, I think, to push them off it. As the smoke comes in, he's going to be either committed to the angle or committed to falling back, and falling back is the answer. They're going to chase through, but dropping the player in towards Fountain means this is going to be a tough road to travel. And the quick flank from Varen finds out the player in charge before he can have any impact with that AWP. Bomb now planted. Great post-plant situation for Lowkey, or for Team Hyper, rather. And Lowkey, they've got to be calling the save. Droid's already out of there, all the way back, just making sure there's no chance that he's going to get flanked out. Maybe Obsidian goes for this.
That looked clinical, though, from Team Hyper.
Still. It was great.
Yeah,
we haven't really seen that from them yet.
Yeah, almost surgical. I mean, they went in, they took no casualties, they cleared out all the proper angles in the proper format, and then proper pace. That was well done. Yeah, no chance.
It's great for them as well that the round where Deimos drops doesn't limit them, that they managed to win that one. So it's not really like a thing where they look back and go, oh, if only we had that.
It's a bit of like a mental game when it comes to that, right? It's just like, it kind of lingers in the back of your mind, like this round could have went differently. So you just kind of like get stuck on that mentally. There it is. The pause comes out. I think people are trying to enforce a new lingo, by the way, so tactical.
I saw that. Yeah. Alchemist is sweet.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. So tactical timeouts are now being called pauses, whereas a timeout is just a technical is a pause, and a tactical is just a timeout. I like that.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Just get rid of the words tac and tech. It's confusing enough for an audience.
Especially for on-air talent, right? It's like you get a message from the observer or the producer saying, yeah, it's a tac, and you're like, is it what? Technical tag? Like, they sound way too similar. So pause, timeout. Clean, clear cut, straight to the point.
It's nice. At least in this instance, it was pretty obvious what had happened, seeing as Deimos is out of the server. Not a lot of interpretation there, but hopefully we'll get him back in just a moment and get ready to back in here. The question is, losing this timeout, having this timeout come in here, does that maybe take a little bit of the momentum away from having converted a pretty risky round for Team Hyper? Does that slow them down just a touch? Or is the fact that Lowkey doesn't really have much to work with not going to make that an issue? Droid with the 1M1 really just the only major threat in this round.
Right.
Depending on how you feel about the Nova.
I imagine this will probably cool down both teams, especially considering Lowkey's. I mean, they've had a great half. They've had a great conversion of the second half also, but now it's kind of starting to come back towards Hyper. So I think both teams will cool off here, and this being a pretty much an eco round for Hyper. I mean Hyper on the anti-eco, you know what I mean. But yeah, I think this will kind of get their fire started again. So I think this will work against Lowkey.
Okay.
Let's hope this doesn't take too long where everyone starts getting frustrated, and it just might mess with their mental.
So it's a 5-round advantage at this point, right? Lowkey's been pretty in control this whole time. Hyper, they have this habit of getting the scrappiest buys and not being able to convert when they actually have the advantage. So that makes me a little concerned here, right? They've got, by every measure, the advantage. They've got the op, they've got the rifles, they should have the utility advantage by far. Meanwhile, on the other side, pretty much safe through. There's a Nova, there's going to be some pistols. But if they just start blindsiding corners, going around with the P250, charging with the CZ, you know, just sort of getting free and loose with the Nova, maybe they can upset Hyper. We've seen it happen a few different times here. And they've really got to steel themselves against that mental side of the game.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. And it's like kind of like the strong point of Lowkey, right? Is when you have these young talent with so much, very crispy aim and all these mechanics that have been grinded out in hours of pugs and hours of deathmatching and scrims. Come in, you throw the tempo off. If you're feeling confident, just take a duel. That throws everything off. That throws the timing of the peaks off. It throws the timing of the strats off. It might catch people off guard, and just like it all can crumble pretty quickly, as we've obviously seen before. But yeah, I don't know. Team Hyper seems. I think they're a bit too structured in some senses. Wait, they? Okay.
Pause on pause.
Yeah, let's get a chat check here.
Looks like we still got to pause. They're figuring it out.
Gotcha.
They're figuring it out.
Yeah, if it takes a...
Power went out. Oh, no. His power went out.
Oh, no. Does that mean he's back on, or his power's out permanently? Or does it flicker and it just killed his internet? Well, I mean, regardless, if this...
find out.
Yeah, if this takes longer than a minute or two, we'll just... We'll take you guys back to music so you guys can just enjoy some tunes instead of hearing my annoying voice and Mike's beautiful voice.
We are songbirds. We are songbirds, Roy. We are melodious merchants of music.
You know what? I'll go with that. Sure. Yeah.
This is like Counter-Strike ASMR.
Wait,
we just
unpaused?
Oh, he back.
Okay. This is an important round. I'm really surprised they're playing this one out.
I'm not sure what's going on here. This is going to be interesting, though. They're definitely playing serious. I mean, just based on their setups, it's looking like they're going for it. Nova down, close up. If they boost the Nova, they're not actually going to boost the Nova. They're going to boost the pistol instead. I kind of wanted to see the Nova boosted up on the flower pots. I don't know that I've ever seen that angle held with a shotgun, but it's definitely an interesting one. Instead, it's going to be the USP boosted up and the Nova to take fight. And considering the Nova has the armor, that's probably the right call. It does look like Hyper want to get aggressive towards Banana. Considering they're a man down from the get-go, whatever they take as the initial peak is probably going to be it. Deimos just reconnected, so we'll have him in the next if this is in fact a round that's going to be played, which it seems like it is going to.
Oh no, they're gambling. Yeah, they're gambling B. They cleared middle. They saw no one there. They saw no presence, and they're stacking in the right direction, even though it's a bit of a gamble, right? They don't really have much. They checked hulls earlier. Droid checked that, saw nothing. They checked bracket, saw nothing. And now Hyper's coming into a stack. This could end poorly, Mike.
It certainly could. Physique at least pushed off that flower pot position, and this smoke is going to cover a lot. Dropping that player on site makes it a lot easier to work with, but Droid has the rifle, and he's putting it to great effect. Only Hippo and Veronel and they are going to be trying to clear away. Hippo just trying to protect his planter as that bomb will go down. Droid still lurks, and he's the big threat in the round, and now the pistol close to be his shield. He's going to find the edge as Hippo's butt just stuck out a little bit, and he gets a trim. It all comes down to Baron, hiding at New Box, getting chased down, and they're going to line up for him. He stands strong with the 3-man spray down, holding Mouse 1 and dominating.
Oh my god. Man, I thought he messed that one up. The spray looked rough at first. He took so much damage on top of that, and I was like, no way that works out. But the spray transfer, the control under pressure of all things, that was well done. That's a great job by Varn, securing a 1 versus 3 for his team. Stuck it behind the new box on top of all that. That's impressive. I like that. I'm sure Deimos can take a big sigh of relief right here as they almost dropped a pretty important anti-eco. Now it's back to 12-8.
It definitely keeps them humming. The money's still not great for Lowkey either. They don't have the op. They're limited in utility. There's definitely an opportunity for Hyper to close this gap now, especially now that they have Deimos back, the full complement. They're going to be looking solid here, and they'll start to probe up. It's a slower round from them. A full complement means they don't really have to go off their initial. They can play around with it, toy with it, make Lowkey on. That's exactly what's going to happen. Physic rotating off. He's standing in the middle of the smoke, it seems, or right on the other side of it, rather. Just hoping that somebody's going to come through and feed him. And they're playing with enough patience that that's not quite going to happen. But now 4 players grouping up. This is going to be another B hit, presumably. Just one lurk out towards mid to make a little bit of noise and maybe find that lurking flank. 4 players now here getting ready to toss utility, hoping someone is going to feed them an easy frag over the coffins. There's going to be none available. Hippo has a good idea that someone's playing in that corner. That was his favorite spot previously. And now he hears the footsteps, but can't win out the duel. So the hit will come through, but there's no potential lurk. Won't matter, though, if they get the instant kills on sight. The curtain of smokes makes that a little trickier and actually kind of gives Physic a bit of a respite. Now the team is rotating in. There's shots raining out from CT, and at the new box, Physic can just hit shots, stay alive, and make life hell for the Team Hyper side, and he will clean up. 3 kills from the back of sight. Never push out of his angle like a turret. This man just knocks down all comers.
You know, for a second, if it was a regular execute for Team Hyper, I think they would have converted that round, but because they went for the curtains, they weren't able to clear sight effectively. Lowkey had no utility left. They had no way to counter a normal execute. Team Hyper, they should have done a better job kind of keeping track of that, but they committed to the strat even though their lurk kind of got lost under control and gave up information. And now Vec goes aggressive early on, finds Warblood. That's a massive find as Team Hyper's economy is hanging on by a thread here.
Oof. Big off shot as well. It's just another nail in the coffin. Had the opportunity for the third, doesn't quite find it, but it's the USP instead. So it just gets from bad to worse for Hyper. Now they're trying to take control, but they're isolated, completely separated. Edwards is freelance and doing his own thing, and it's not yielding results. It's all on Varen. The man who had the amazing 3K spray down in sight now has to do so much more. Yeah. It's a 1v5, and the money is bad.
Yeah,
they'll have a buy in the next, but it's worth saving, maybe.
Is it?
Probably not. Utility, though. He doesn't think so. He'll give up his life in the first exchange. He's dropped. See, 3,100 now, right? The rest of the team can buy. If he had an AK armor here as opposed to this Galil.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the save. I think probbing and just trying to find anything there would have been possibly better, but Galil, not the worst of all things. Edward down to a Deagle. At least he has some utility to kind of back that up for his team and compensate for the fact that none of them else have a lot of utility. But Junior looking for that early pick once again. I think he's aware that Hyper's economy isn't as strong. Back with this flash from Obsidian, able to find an early pick towards Banana. That's a great find, and control was being exerted here. Man, they're going with deep smokes on top of that. That's a lot of control here for Lowkey.
Lowkey's playing this disrespect style where they just take the fight immediately. They chuck that deep utility. They force them into encounters, and they're bullying them with the superior weaponry, with the ops, with the long-range shots. And so Hyper on the back foot right from the get-go. I mean, Edwards 4 HP away from death. The rest of the team's battered. There's a player all the way in towards mid from Vec who's pushed so far around. He's about to catch the boiler player. Hippo saver recovers nicely. He will save the Hippo, at least for the moment. There's still so much more to do for Team Hyper. Minute on the clock, so they've at least got time to work with, but they've got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, absolutely, and they have not even taken Banana back. Junior is so fast on that AWP. Hippo goes down without even a chance to fight back. And there's now a 2-man advantage. Edward down to 4 HP. It's surely not looking good for Hyper. Call is right. They're going back towards the B side. This is where the defense is weak temporarily. Only one player standing here, and he's in a retake position. They're able to find this kill. If they can take out Physique and not take any casualties, that might be the key in this round, but it's going to be a tough task.
I like this move from Physique to reposition. It's good timing because presumably, they're not actually dropping it. They don't want to make any noise. I was going to say presumably going to drop that cross smoke. There it is, but he finds the timing on the peak. So he'll pick up the 1 kill even if he gets dug out here. This is such a hopeless situation. He can just play and wait for the plant. The rest of his team's going to be here, know exactly where Warblood is, and this just becomes hopeless. Here's the spray. He's trying to find him. Actually expecting him to have come off of it. They've passed each other completely. Here's a moment for Warblood. Might have something, but he can't win the first duel. Dropped with a quick bullet from Physique's AK. It's going to be the 15th round for Lowkey. And it was a nice little run back from Hyper for a moment there. But Lowkey have shut the door, turned the key, locked him out. And now they're looking to take their first win of the Winners League.
This is the way I was hoping Lowkey would play the CT side. I mean, when I saw them playing passively, I was like, oh no, I hope they don't fall into this overly passive with a good lead mentality where they kind of start losing control of the game slowly but surely. But no, they're going aggressive. They're maintaining their confidence, and they're using that to their advantage, and it's working out beautifully on the T side. Junior, once again, with the AWP. This man has a fast sense or a fast hand, I don't know, but he can look away quickly. Look at that shot. Look at that aim. It's so good.
Man, it's crispy with the off. He has more opportunity. This time a little bit of an over flick, but it's okay because his teammate is there to bail him out. They're just rotating rapidly to take the fights, knowing that they have the advantage and they just don't want to get overwhelmed by numbers. And smooth rotation has paid off so far, but Vec is now left on an island. There's 2 players who are about to face around. They could find the timing with the AUG. Oh, there's the spot and the smoke as well. They're chasing him down at the angle, but he plays it aggressive and goes forward and trades himself out effectively. Now it's just Deimos and Varon. So much work to do. The bomb's crossed, so at least they'll get the plant out of it, but there's so much more that they need out of this round. It's do or die time. They haven't even gotten that plant yet. They backed into sight, and Molly's raining down through fire, flames, and smoke. They've got a lot of road. It's falling apart, though, for Lowkey. They're giving up easy kills. It all comes to Droid, who's got 2. There's the lineup and the first, and now the bomb is stuck in the back of sight in a 1v1. Droid and Deimos dueling off the 2 Ds who will reign on top. Deimos expects the angle, but Droid is patient, slow, creeping, wants to make sure that he has the advantage in this fight. Deimos decides to get aggressive. 25 seconds. He's going to take the fight to him.
Oh, he just spotted him. Yeah, he spotted the barrel. He knows he's there. Deimos has it lined up, and Droid was not expecting that. And Hyper clawed themselves out of an impossible scenario. And I think Lowkey may have gone a little bit overzealous there. They were way too eager to close that game out. They had a massive advantage. As soon as the bomb tap was heard, he pushes through the smoke, but it was a fake. And he walked straight into a Molotov, gave away his life for free. That wasn't it, Chief.
Certainly was not. A little bit of a lifeline here for Hyper. And we see it again in their scrappy rounds. They do well. Aggression down mid. Junior picks that and somehow isn't punished for it. There were enough bodies there that I thought there was no way he'd get back through the smoke, but he does indeed do that. Houdini on the site, and now that op lives to fight another day. Flower pot boost is being attempted here. Taking them a couple attempts, but they will have a player up in that position. And now 3 players at the top of Banana. Hyper are going to have to try and do it a man down. They pulled off some magic at the end of the last, but they need to reach back into that hat and pull out another rabbit. Specifically 6 more rabbits, because this is a long road to bring us back to overtime.
It won't be all gun round rabbits, though. In fact, now boosted up might be the key here. He falls early. That's taking an awkward scenario. Baron finds 1, and the Vec now able to find a single kill, and Team Hyper has busted the B doors open, not taking any casualties except Warblood. That's a good trade. They'll trade that out any day of the week. And I think Lowkey just goes for the save. They don't have the economy, and they don't want to relent. They're just going to keep up the pressure here. I like this call from the youngins. Save the weapons. Bring into this next round. Try your luck again.
I think it makes a lot of sense, especially considering how impactful that op has been on getting them an opening pick round after round after round. You give Junior the best opportunity to do that. You give yourself an advantage going into the round once again. So they're just going to play conservative. They know Team Hyper doesn't really want to hunt for this, although since it's do or die, maybe there's something to be said for it. And they're going to be able to save these guns. Hippo Saver is actually getting aggressive. I don't think he's going to be close enough to really do any damage. Indeed, he won't be. But Lowkey, they've got something to work with here. They can drop guns for Vec and Physic, give them a chance here, though they may not be the best in the world.
No, I think it's going to be pretty much a full buy. They have three players with kits already. Fourth kit comes out, full utility. There it is.
Okay.
Nice healthy buy. Only one player lacking some utility, but it's a Molotov and a smoke. I mean, that's 2 flashbangs, not the end of the world if you're missing that. Here we go, though. Important round, of course. Team Hyper, they have 5 rounds to go. Lowkey have 5 chances to close us off in regulation. At least there's no losing potential for Lowkey here, at least in regulation. Early utility coming out from Hyper, looking to gain ground towards Banana. Pretty standard stuff for a default for the T side, while on the other side of the map, control towards Hall is being deserted here.
We haven't really seen them play too much around with that Hall and the balcony. They just haven't really tempted it. It's either really been a lot of play through mid, through brackets, or towards the B bomb site. Maybe a bit new a wrinkle here. Hippo Saver is trying to make his way out Boiler instead. There will be a player here to check him. Obsidian tucked right to the corners, just waiting for that flash to do the damage. Instead, the hit's coming towards B. They haven't even checked the flower pot spot yet. I don't know if Vec's given himself away. I don't believe he has. They should be aware of the possibilities, but they're wasting utility. And that's delaying them at least a moment longer. The resmoke will come in for Cross. And Vec's actually expecting him to go through it. So this is interesting. They've gotten past his vision, that now he should certainly have it. And as they hop up, they check it. They're in the presence of mind to check for that spot after having already crossed the lane. That's big. Bomb now planted. I think Lowkey's going to go back for another save. So Hyper, they're buying themselves another moment, a stay of execution, if you will.
I mean, I was thinking in the beginning of that round when Edward fell, I was like, man, these contact plays, they're only going to work so much before Lowkey starts becoming pretty vigilant of them. But gotta give it to Varen. That was very well played. And good timing on the peak, on the repeak towards CT spawn after finding the kill on site and not spotting anyone else. That was really well read. I like that a lot coming out from Varen.
They're making a game of this. They are making a game of this for sure. It was looking a little hopeless. Droid's at least going to get the mop up here and keep his gun alive. So we'll have another good round. If it gets a little weaker each time, they're still going to be solid. And we are seeing competition right here at the end. 15-11. This retake now feels very much like a possibility. This is the classic situation of you're getting towards the end. You just take your foot just a little bit off the gas. And that allows Hyper to catch up and make this breakneck pace. So not too much reinvestment here. They're not going to go for the force buy. They'll give themselves a chance even if they get full white here to be able to buy in the next. Which is an interesting decision, considering the money that was in reserve. They could have made a better case of it in this round, but they'll avoid it. See what happens here. That's a miss nade. Fortunately, doesn't quite do as much damage as it might have. Varen's wondering, hey, bud, maybe try tossing that a little further out.
Time to start working out the arms.
Too much time on the legs, not enough time on the arms.
Is there really such thing as too much time on the legs, Mike?
I mean, apparently not based on your personal life philosophy. All legs, all day. This man never skips leg day. Yeah, just only leg days.
Let's see this from Edward. He's leading the charge once again towards the B site. And I have to say, I wonder if this is a rehearsed strat that they're running, or if it's just kind of feeling out the defense here for Lowkey. But this time, Lowkey says, we're stacking the site. Vec finding one, Obsidian finding the next off the contact. Very well played. Edward Varen go down. Deimos, Warblood now. 2 players remaining for Hyper. And this might be the end here, Mike. I think we have reached the end of the lifeline.
They pretty much ran the same strat over and over and over again, right? Which was have Hippo Saver make contact towards A and then hit B and see what you can find. And that little wrinkle of an extra player boosted up on the box just sends them astray. It's all Deimos, the experienced player, and he's got it all to do. 4 more kills to find. He's being picked apart from every direction. It'll be Droid to put the final nail in the coffin. 16-11, folks. It took a little longer than we initially thought, but Lowkey Esports close it out, and they do take that first win in the Winners League.
Yeah, that was a great first win on top of that. I mean, Physique and Droid are just looking really, really sharp on the squad. And I just found out that the oldest player on Lowkey is actually 19. This squad has a pretty long timeline if they stick together and grind it out. I mean, I see big things for these players. They're all obviously very skilled individually. But Team Hyper, man, the resilience there. I mean, yeah, sloppy first half. I think if the first half was slightly leaning towards them, I think we might have had a different outcome in the second half. But that was a great resilience by them, keeping themselves in the game, not really letting the pressure get to their heads and kind of keeping strong. And I'm pretty excited to see both of these teams in the future.